Well, it's another beautiful morning. A little hot today. Off in the distance, towers of the neo-Gothic campus of City College. And then we pan over here to continue with our services. And this is the gatehouse of the Croton Aqueduct, built in 1884 to 1890. And you can see it's got some massive blocks that compose its architecture. We recognize the brown, I think, by now, and possibly the gray, though maybe we need to get closer to that. So this would have regulated water flow in the aqueduct. And I assume these gigantic big black pipes were necessary for venting out gases that might build up in the aqueduct so that they didn't cause any trouble, like, I guess, an explosion. So let's move closer and then go to the other side. The Croton Aqueduct, 135th Street Gatehouse. This is also City College. I don't find it the most distinguished piece of architecture. I think it's a student center, classrooms, maybe other things. Then we pan over to this little pillar, and what do we have? Well, I think you know. I think you know what you got here. You can see you've got your brownstone with your assortment of inorganic mineral fragments glued together with some cement, calcite, hematite, even quartz, depending on the amount of pressure. We can see clearly different types of minerals that have been deposited, buried, compacted, cemented, and lithified. But then, moving over, oh my gosh, what a beautiful, I think you know, beautiful granite. And again, the architect chose to have it be a little rough on the outside. It's definitely not polished stone. And you can probably see the white gray feldspar. There's some other slightly grayer quartz, and then I can see bits of mica reflecting light. This is the granite at the blockhouse. And right in front of us is where you would have had your graduation, silhouetted on the right there under netting. So I stopped as I was moving around the gatehouse because I found this little poem here on a stone, a big block of granite. The finest workers in stone are not copper or steel tools, but the gentle touches of air and water working at their leisure. Maybe he's talking about the slow weathering of rock and the patterns it makes. And over here we find, give me silence, water, hope. Give me struggle, iron, volcanoes. And we have the name of the author, the great Chilean poet, Pablo Neruda. Perhaps murdered by the Pinochet regime. It's not clear. In the early 1970s. And here finally a little view further away of that gatehouse to regulate flow. We're up on a hill here at 135th and Convent Avenue, City College. And so the water would be actually having moved to this high point and then regulated here so that it didn't just rush downhill in an uncontrolled manner. And I guess it was moving so fast that air had moved, would accumulate in the pipe, and so then they had these big black pipes to vent off gases. Let's just take a quick look now at City College, because it's a service as such. So here we are, I'm on Convent, and we'll just sweep around, give you an idea of the City College campus, and we'll go look at a building close. You can see this neo-Gothic architecture designed to look older than it is. Gates down there where you would enter the campus, and then here you see grand old trees, elm, and I'm not sure what the other ones are, like maple, and the Gothic Hall. Here we are at what's called Edward Shepherd Hall. Limestone, and you might be able to guess by now. Let's move in and take a look. The limestone cut to make all of these beautiful edges, and then we actually, I just had to take a quick look. Look at these fine little sculptural details. This guy hanging in there, he's not weathering badly at all because he's protected in this alcove. This guy, and actually over the door is an interesting material. It's not actually limestone. I think this is what's called terracotta, where you actually bake like pottery, the sculptural. This all may actually be, all these sculptures and all may be terracotta, why they're not weathering as badly. But then we have clearly a schist. There is no question. And this schist here, you can, I think we got some garnet right in here, right in here. Clearly a lot of mica. This stone has been oriented at a right angle to its foliation. I mean, in terms of where it's placed on the building. The foliation here is horizontal. So a Manhattan schist. Oh, and here's a little detail that you don't always see. A little plug put between the schist and this limestone in order to drain any water that might get behind and help slow weathering. And you can see how along the edge between the limestone and the schist, how oxidation has taken place. So this is your Manhattan schist on the whatever hall, Edward somebody. And then this one guy right over our head. And again, I think these are what we call terracotta as opposed to limestone. So they have been baked and thus have a sort of a ceramic glaze that protects them from the ravages of acidification or carbonation.